Hello, I'm so glad to be back with you all. Today we're going to be talking about the geography of China. So, China is a pretty big country. It's a little bit bigger than the United States, making it the third largest country in the world. Honestly, for things you need to write here, that it's big. Now, one of the things that you also need to know is that a lot of China is mountainous, hilly, plateaus. We're going to see there's only a few spots for China's huge population to really be able to live with all of the resources that they need. So here's just a size comparison showing you the United States and China. Here we see some stats about them. So we're 0.1 million square miles less than China. One of the interesting things is for China, like I said, not many places everybody can live. The East Coast is where most people live in China, just like with the majority of the population in the United States. This bottom spot, connectivity problems, that's just showing the challenge for people to be able to travel in their respective countries. And for China, historically, it's going to be going north and south. And one of the things we're going to study in our unit is how emperors are going to solve that problem of the north-south. Whereas when you get to Mrs. Wing's class in 7th and 8th grade, you're going to talk about how the United States had the issue of going east to west. So look at this map right here. What are you noticing lots of? I hope you said mountains all over the place. Now we look over here at Tibet, that's a plateau. We look over here where there's no mountains, guess what? Those are deserts. So the majority of the population, like I said, is going to be living along the east coast where we see fertile rivers. The cities show this. We have the majority of the cities along the east coast. So, China. Because it's so big, because of all of the mountains in particular, we're going to see a lot of climate differences. In the southeast, we have hot to warm. We have monsoons bringing lots of rain in the summer. They also have to worry about typhoons, which basically is what we would call a hurricane. Whereas when you go to the northeast, it's very dry, it's cold. Northwest is going to be dry. Taklamakan Desert is one of those deserts I pointed out before. Huge, vast, desolate. I mean, Taklamakan means land of irrevocable death. Oof, wouldn't want to go there, right? As we see, it's humongous. We're going to have the Kunlun Mountains in the south. We're going to have a river to the north. This is huge. I wouldn't write every single bullet we're going here, by the way. You just need to know that they have deserts that are vast, and it's going to be similar for a lot of the different geographic features. I'll let you know if there's something to really focus in on. Because I'm not going to ask you how high sand dunes are. That's just silly. But I mean, almost 1,000-foot high sand dunes? That's insane! The East China Sea. Once again, I'm not going to ask you these details about it. We need to know where the East China Sea is, so there you go. We're going to know that there's going to be lots of monsoons coming from here, but you don't need to know the size or the depth. That's just silly. The South China Sea. Once again, you don't need to know these details, but you need to know South China Sea is over here. Mount Everest. Look at that. Now, typically people go to Nepal to climb Mount Everest. However, it does border China. It's the largest mountain on Earth. Well, unless you count those underwater mountains, but it's the largest mountain above sea level. Isn't that beautiful? just gorgeous. Once again, you don't need these details, but I want you to see the differences in geography there. Look at that, the Turfan Depression. You're seeing a lot of examples of why there are few places ever want to live. Now, one of the cool things that, even though it looked crazy desolate in the one picture, when you get into the basin, because it's further down, lots of water gets in, so it will actually be a good farmland for that area. And we're going to have a lot of grapes in that spot, but lots of other foods. But now we get to the really good farmland, North China Plain. It's the second largest plain in the world. And we're going to see, because of the surrounding water, they are going to be able to cultivate tons of land. If you look, you see we have the terrace farming over here. Look at that catfish. Whoa. All right. We're not going to be discussing the Mekong River, but the Yellow River, the Huanghe, we will be discussing. Now, the Huanghe is going to be an incredibly important river for the Chinese. It's often called China's sorrow because of all of the people that unfortunately passed away because of flooding. Floods are going to be a major problem that China's going to have to deal with, but you need to know the Huanghe, or the Yellow River. Now, the Yangzi River. The Yangzi River is going to be the other most important river that we're going to be discussing in our unit, and it's super productive agriculturally. We see we have the people living right along it. The Sichuan River, we're not really going to talk about that much. It's further south of the Yangtze, which also you hear is the Tonghu. Gobi Desert, humongous desert. Once again, like I said, there's not a lot of notes to be taken here. It's really more just going and seeing the vast differences in geography, seeing all the coolness. Look at that one. Notice the terraces that we have here. So they're able to take these plateaus, these hilly regions, and make them very viable for farming. You know, like we said before, they're Minecrafting the land. Beautiful areas that we hear. So one of the things that you probably do want to have here is that the majority of the people, particularly in our period, but many today, are going to be farmers. Fishing will be a huge industry. China is going to be one of the most wealthy nations in natural resources, which is going to be very beneficial for them. And we're going to see through time how they're going to be able to utilize many of those natural resources. We're going to see great irrigation systems. We're going to see how they're going to use that water for transportation as well, and nowadays hydroelectricity. And this land is going to be great for growing rice. Why that's so small, I don't know. Yeesh. You don't have to write what their natural resources are going to be, but they have significant resources. So that was our notes today. You didn't really have to write very much, but I hope this gave you a picture of the size, the beauty, the huge differences within China's geography. Have a great day.